Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. My name is Victor.
I'm Alex.
And we're back bringing you guys another movie review. It's been a minute. Thank you guys so much for being patient. I have had some medical issues. Wyatt has been on some traveling adventures, who is not with us today. And our boy Alex was making his way back from overseas, now back with us in studio. Welcome back, brother. It's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
And so with that, we've been a step behind bringing you guys content. Lots of new movies out, lots of new movies coming up, but nonetheless, we are back trying to bring you guys the content on everything we've missed, starting with this week's release, Heretic, A24 movie, Hugh Grant starting, thriller, right, which we know is right up A24's alley. Seems like definitely something worth watching, so we did. And with that, I throw it to you. What were your general thoughts on Heretic?
I was actually surprised by how well how I liked it in the end. Because
you didn't think you were gonna like it going in?
I thought it was gonna be good. I just didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I was going to.
Okay.
Because it really surprised me on what a heel turn it was doing.
Okay.
But also, I want to give real shout out to the amazing performance by Hugh Grant, who I think this is gonna be the first time he's been like an antagonistic role.
Yeah.
For that type of thing. I've always seen him like in rom-coms or like in roles like a supporting character, or as like a leading man, like a romantic film or things like that. I think back to I think back to the movie like Love Actually that he was in.
Oh yeah.
But he did like an amazing job as well as the two leads, there was Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, who did a great job in coordinating with him in these performances. But I also like how this movie isn't just a regular like two ladies who are basically like these like traveling religious people trying to turn people over to the ways of God. It becomes like a much more like dark exploration of like religion and belief in such a way that it kind of creates intriguing questions that kind of challenges the belief a little bit, which is crazy because I recently had seen the movie Conclave, which is about the faith and like the use of religious power in like authority position, things like that. I think it's probably a good complementary film to this as well, in my personal opinion. But all in all, really strong performances all around, and intriguing concept and intriguing like dialogue, conversation on like religion with a little dark edge to it, which I really like. So for me, I give the movie 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Going into it, I was actually it's not like super excited, but I was definitely excited to see it because when I hear A24, I'm already in. And when I hear A24, thriller, or anything like that, I'm already in. That's their bread and butter. And then you add in a new superstar actor that is joining the A24 verse or whatever. Then I'm in because, they've been growing, they've been able to get bigger actors, more of them are more common in more of these films that are coming out. Hugh Grant, a new one, so I was very excited to see, especially in a thriller. I was like, Hugh Grant, thriller, new, different, but exciting. So, going into it, there was some excitement, and I agree for the most part. It's definitely very intriguing, definitely a different take on the status quo. Girls are trapped in the bad guy's basement. That's like been done before, obviously. But the way it's done here is actually very different, and so that part is good. I just have some issues, which I'll actually explain in further detail later in spoiler territory, with how it sticks to the landing, and that's unfortunate because if it wasn't for that, or how I feel, if it wasn't for that, I feel like I would actually fully agree with you around 8 range, potentially 9, because it's very strong otherwise. But I feel like it really bothers me when a movie does like so many things well as it progresses, just for it to kind of crap on itself right at the end. And I think that is sadly the case here. But I don't put it as far to say that it's not worth watching. I definitely do think it's worth watching. People should watch this. I just personally would not watch it again. One time is enough, and for that reason and those reasons, I give it a 6. But let's dive in. Let's talk about it, right? Let's get into the actual specifics. So this is your spoiler warning. You have been warned. If you haven't seen this movie already, please click off the video because we will be talking about spoiler stuff moving on. And also, if you don't know how things work around here, we try to bring you guys videos at least once a week, sometimes more. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey as we bring you more content. And if you like this video or videos like this, the best way to let us know is by hitting the thumbs up button down there. Now, that being said, spoiler territory. Maybe we don't need to, because again, my biggest gripe is with the ending, so maybe we don't need to jump directly to the ending. Great. But, two religious, they were nuns, because they're already sister, it was Sister Barnes, Sister Paxton, so does that make them officially already nuns?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
And I feel like if we're like nuns, I think it's more reserved for like the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Whereas
I don't know.
sisters,
they're sisters.
Like, yeah,
so what
like,
are they?
I don't know.
Advocates for the church?
I would say we'll go with
like
that.
That's what it is.
I think we just go for that.
But whatever the sisters, then whatever their position is, actually by name, waltz into they're just doing their job, and that's the thing that makes it really unique in a way. Sometimes the antagonist is, you can kind of like in his performance and in the way he goes about things, you can notice that he's the antagonist, and even though we the public know he's the antagonist, the you don't actually know he is because he's so charming.
Very good conversation. Let's do. He's very charming, but he also, in a way, that charming sense is kind of like in a highly suspicious, ominous way, a little bit, which I think is a very great, unique take that really leans into Hugh Grant's like very more strong
his skills
related to like his character that he's done in the past.
Yeah, his strengths.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I like how he tied that into it and just made it like a little more dark twist to it.
Fully agree.
Which I think is like genius. Yeah, it makes it really a unique performance.
Fully agree. You give him a new task, but make it suited for his strengths.
Yeah,
that's essentially what. Yeah, I fully agree. It was as far as that's concerned, it was flawless. Really.
Oh yeah,
it's a great performance, really. And then tale as old as time. You got in the van when the guy offered you candy, so well now you're trapped, right? But there's the overarching ongoing conversation on religion and what it is, or if this one or that one, or what it is, or as a whole, if it's real, if it's not. And that whole dialogue and continuing dialogue throughout the film was actually a different way, or like a different I don't know if to say a different twist, or it's a different take on the actual situation. So that was also welcome and pleasant, because it's also like you're worrying about the current situation, but you're also like intrigued by the conversation that is ongoing.
Yeah, we're like how even though I think in other films like it wouldn't feel so natural, where it feels like it's trying to force these two things together that doesn't fit. But the way that's done with the script and with Hugh Grant and the character, it makes people who place a high belief in the religion as it was believed, and then with another character who has a sense of like who studies so much different religion and different variable texts and different meanings and such that he makes it sound very convincing, where even though you are in the same situation, he gives you space to like feel a bit of relief, but still tense as hell, because like you're trapped and you're probably not getting a chance to get out, but you still have this heavy dialogue of discussion of religion, which has been like the most relevant type of conversation that's done now, even nowadays, even in the less stressful situation. So the way it's built on that is really done in a pretty impeccable way that doesn't make it feel awkward or anything.
No, not at all. Which is really different, because usually this situation is always awkward, and so the way it's done is really I don't know how they achieved this, but they did, and it's good, and it's definitely it's fresh, is what it is, and so and also on the situation itself, he also the way he goes about it is almost like he gives you like false sense of hope, because you're in actually like a very bad situation actually, but he almost at the same time gives you like a sense of comfort, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like you feel safe, but no, you're not.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
you feel safe, but acknowledge mentally that you're.
Yeah, I think it also adds more to Hugh Grant's role in the film and his performance as well. Because I don't think any other actor in where his in that usual stereotypical way that he's done in other films could work in that exact same way without one part feeling off or not, unless they're trying to create a nice balance without changing a few things here and there. With other because like going on to like belief in religion and stuff like that, where he uses like the different texts of like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and relates it to like the ever changing evolution of like the Monopoly games, and where like they're basically they serve the same thing but have like different certain meanings, or it has a certain like update in different generational ways. Where it's like saying how like Christianity, but then we have later on into like Judaism, like Jesus was Jewish, so oftentimes it kind of makes you think about whether parts of religion and stuff is actually really true, or due to the fact that you were like so heavily influenced, like either at a young age or like in a certain part of your life where part of religion and stuff kind of saved you, and you kind of hold on to that belief, and it's like, do you truly believe that, or was it basically just kind of like ingrained into you as like kind of like he believes it's like kind of like a mind control thing.
Yeah.
And whether if you actually do believe
Hive mind thing.
yeah, or do you actually believe it, or were you just made to believe it?
Yeah. So it makes you question essentially everything you thought you believed in before you walked in the door.
Yeah. I also do like how it's not really cookie cut either, because like one of the sisters, it was Sister Barnes, played by Sophie Thatcher, who basically challenged him,
She was good at that.
Yeah, where he basically said, yes, you have all these good educated facts and tidbits of religious stuff, but you are still leaving out some very crucial, important facts, dark facts, like how the fact that how Judaism wasn't really much more prevalent or as strong as Christianity. But he never mentioned things about like how about the Holocaust and how it basically wiped out, it was a genocide for the Jewish people, things like that. So he does leave out certain bit of things, and then there are other certain religions between like people from like Egypt who believe in like this other type of deity who Hugh Grant's character, who the name was Mr. Reed, he basically assumed it's basically the same as like another as the theme of Christianity for like as like Jesus and everything, but Egypt's belief and their type of God has very different types of meaning in itself. So like I guess you could say he is kind of twisting around, but anyway, as he found out later on, that he's kind of making this point where he's trying to make us believe that the true religion was meant to be like control, where everything from the point from when they first got into the house, leaving them trapped down into his basement to try and partake in his like experiment. It was all manipulated, orchestrated by him. They're mostly testing their intelligence and challenging of ways to try and figure out themselves what the real is control. And I know again we're both believers of God. We both are. But then it's also kind of it's hard not to see that control is a major critical point for religion, especially when people take it to like major extremes, like white supremacist groups, like terrorists in the Middle East, or things like that. People kind of like pervert it and they try to focus on one main point, even though oftentimes ways of belief in religion can evolve, and it makes it much more inclusive. Because like I would say God made people in our own image or our own preference, then like people of different race and ethnicities are created by God equal. But then also how some people like don't like persecute people who have like different sexual preferences and things like that, or the belief that someone who is like trans and things like that. People choose to like ignore that and think that's blasphemous. But oftentimes you kind of think how like it kind of evolved from that, where I think you could say it needs a certain update in itself because it has different certain meanings.
Yeah, sure, I agree. But when he makes the point of control, I wouldn't go as far as to say control is the actual true religion. That's that's a little extremist, but makes a valid point that makes you think. Like, control is an essential, critical, I should say, part of how society moves through itself, really. I think, and that's a whole different thing in itself with this film that just actually makes you sit and actually think, which was like completely unexpected because I'm thinking thriller. I'm just gonna go in. It's pretty straightforward. Like the only thinking I'm doing is how everything gets solved or how we get to the end.
Yeah, like how are we gonna get out of the situation? But like you were expecting this huge, in-depth kind of discussion basis of like true meaning of like religion or like what it means to you,
questioning moral, ethical things and beliefs. So it's actually very unique in that way. But apart from that aspect of the film, the actual, like, I guess, visual and problem, non-dialogue part of the film is they're trapped in the basement and they have to get out, which, okay, it progresses pretty and actually truly naturally and flawlessly throughout the entirety of the film as far as I'm concerned, which was great because it just kept up with this nice organic flow. But then you get to the end and it's really bothersome. So you get to the end where one of the sisters had already died a while ago, at least.
Yeah, Sister
like
Barnes.
Absolute minimum 30 minutes runtime. What I believe close to 40, maybe 45, 50 minutes runtime, but at no less than 30 for sure minutes of actual real life movie runtime. She's dead. Therefore, there is only one left alive, and the movie occurs, like I said, very organically. And then you get to this point right at the end where it's just the last remaining sister Paxton, and Mr. Reed, Hugh Grant's character. They're in this tussle. And essentially, Sister Paxton was dying because she had just gotten critically hurt, however, still alive. And Mr. Reed had also just kind of been given a low blow, so he was actually also hurt. So they were both struggling. But out of nowhere, the story oldest time, easiest cop-out in the history of cop-outs when it comes to horror movies and thrillers, the long-lost and forgotten human being that had been long dead on the floor from ages ago comes back alive for one last heroic 10 seconds and kills off the big bad wolf. Now, people have opinions like you who choose to not look too deeply into this. I think it's quite frankly bullshit, but I can't do that. I hate it. It's awful. It's a cop-out. That's what it is. It's undoubtedly, you cannot argue with it. It is a cop-out. It's essentially the writer's room when they were writing the script for this, working and working and working, and mind you, cooking, doing very, very well in writing the entirety of it, and right when we get to the end, it's like, oh, I got all this good stuff, but I am having trouble finding out how to end this. I am having trouble finding out how to get rid of the main character. Oh, you know what? We'll just do this. And that's it. That's it. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's not okay. That killed it for me. I have a big problem with that. I don't like it. Therefore, that's when my rating goes down from like 8 to a 6. Yeah, like because that happens, I don't desire to watch this movie ever again. It completely invalidates, I should say, everything that came before it, which was so great because I know where we're gonna end up at, and it's a really bothersome and it's a really bothersome location where we end up at. Therefore, I'd rather not go through it again because I know where we're gonna end up at, and it's not. So that's what it's not good. It's a cop-out. It's not good. And you know what? I challenge people out there because I had a long conversation on the way home from the theater with Alex over here about this, where apparently he doesn't see it as a big issue and actually argues that it's actually not bad at all, I think, was your argument. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I challenge viewers of this video, if you get to this point of the video and you hear what I'm saying, please comment down below if you've seen this movie. What do you feel? How do you feel about that situation? Do you feel it was a cop-out? Which, if you say no, sorry, you're wrong. It is. Or do you find it problematic? Or do you not find it problematic? Or do you, whatever. I want to hear people's opinions on this because for me, it is quite literally a deal breaker.
Well, y'all know what Victor's opinion on that one is.
Yes.
My personal opinion is that based on the fact of the movie's main topic on like religion and belief, especially when it came on to this aspect of like what's been known as like a certain miracle, especially since that was like a part of the major thing for like the whole basement scene where they had where the mystery made them believe that there was a woman who was like able to like miraculously come back to life after eating like poison pie. As we find out later on, it turned out to be like turned out to be basically another woman who came in from a trap door and
magic
everything. Yeah, smoke and mirrors, that.
Yeah,
but I can go again. Also, want to add, I'm actually surprised that it was Sister Paxton who was the one that was actually made out alive. My money was gonna be on
definitely on
my place was on Sister Barnes.
Fully agree.
And what I do think in the context, even though it was really close to Mr. Reed was getting close to killing Sister Paxton, but in her final moments she was actually praying. So like, even though yes, it is kind of a creative output thing to have like Sister Barnes have like one last final moment to save her sister in need, I chalk it up to being like more like her like one prayer of wish. Because even before that one, it's talking about how like part of like social, so there was like an experiment she had mentioned, or one of the sisters mentioned about something called like a scientific study that was done for half a group of people was separated into one group and one other group was separated into a different one that was prayed. And even though he said like, even though prayer they just say doesn't work, it's the fact that it's like hope or like hoping for like to always have like praying or believing in someone to maybe might give them a chance to like brighten up their time or basically wish them well. I took that to like be the moment where that the one good miracle might happen for her in that one instant moment, and she was seemed like she was very pure of heart and very nice and innocent. But even though you could say she probably didn't believe that her prayer would work, she wanted to do that in her good final moments. And maybe the fact that Sister Barnes didn't temporarily came back to life. I think it would have been a bit much if she was still alive, and basically helped her out of the room and stuff. But in that one final moment, I don't have much of a problem with it due to the fact of everything that came before with this whole religious lesson and topics and everything. I feel like this whole good one miracle type of prayer works itself in context. Now you could say, was it done very well? I won't say it's done in a terrible way, but I think it's done in a good enough way where it's passably believable for me, and thus doesn't ruin my whole experience after everything that came before. Especially since everything beforehand was still done brilliantly well. Especially with Hugh Grant, still giving me like his amazing performance of everything from his lessons to his own final belief that the one true religion was controlling every single aspect of everything, and basically saying that control keeps all the girls like in prison down below in their place when he thinks they could have escaped at any time. Where he even gave Sister Paxton a chance to like, oh, you guys can leave it any time you want. But even though still then, it was all very calculated because he knew they were all going to be ending up there eventually because he orchestrated it that way due to the sense that control is everything. So, in my belief, it doesn't ruin it for me at all as much as it does to Vic.
Huh. You did mention one of the things that you just said you did not mention on that car ride home, which actually made me start thinking a little bit. Which you mentioned, it was the entire premise of, we know the last time the whole resurrection thing with the old lady thing was smoke and mirrors. However, the overarching conversation and topic throughout the entirety of the movie was religion, and they did believe in religion and wanted to argue against the things that Mr. Reed was saying. And so for that one stroke of time and situation, it was like this one sign, like you said, of religion and of answered prayer, and like this almost like the light bulb going off or the silver lining in the entirety of the confirmation for them.
Yeah, and I think it also could be argumentative sake for the fact that Reed died at the end, it also I think it has also a way of beating his sense of belief was into the control. Because again, he never could have anticipated that would be Sister Paxton to be the one to like be the one to get close up to him to actually stab him. Because like at the beginning, it was always Sister Barnes to be like, you know what, I'm gonna be ready to take this guy out.
Yeah.
Because like she was ready to like use anything at her disposal to take him out, and they're trapped in that basement and try to get out. She was the one who was like the most stubborn and more had a more fighting spirit compared to Sister Paxton, who was just
scared and
yeah. So I think that whole thing kind of gives like an overarching thing of where their hopeful belief beats out his more conceited, dark belief of control that he believes is the only true religion that matters the most.
Okay. Well, you know what? Better than the things you said to me on the ride home after we saw the movie. Therefore, I'll rewatch this at a later time. Maybe my opinion will change. Still don't like it, but you definitely made it less aggressively negative for me, which is the mindset I had, was that it was just garbage. But maybe looking at it through that perspective and lens, which I had not thought of, maybe I could say, maybe instead of 6, 7. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then Sister Paxton gets away. Or at least we think. She gets out and calls somebody, but we don't know if she actually ends up alive again. But
yeah, because it makes you think, because like at the end she is out in the forest where the storm is cleared, and then she ends up having this butterfly on her hand. And then earlier from the beginning of the movie, she was talking about like if she dies, she wants to come back as a butterfly, and then she wants to be on the tipping
on the hand
point of
she would land on someone's hand.
Of her loved one, and basically knowing that like they would know it's her. So I guess did she survive or was
that a metaphor saying that that's what happened?
Yeah,
that she died.
Yeah, and then also you need to know that like it's a matter of what we believe,
or it could have been sister.
Oh, or that too.
That landed on her.
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think
she knew that that's what she wished, so maybe she then. Hey. Yeah, you're right. It is almost like a matter of belief. Well, I believe that they shit the bed. How about that? No, I'm joking.
Well, you're entitled to what you believe.
Yeah. Maybe I will have to. You know what? You helped change my mind. Not all the way, but at least enough for me to actually watch this again later down the line and give it a second look.
Well, they got you to see it from another way. Not fully, but at least halfway. Halfway there.
Because that's such a... Come on, guys. Come on. In the comments, if you've seen it, or let's just, even if you haven't seen it, we all know the cop-out is bring the long-lost dead person back to life for literally like 5 seconds just to kill the big bad wolf. Like, we know this. It's like a tale as old as time. It's at the end of the rom-com. He's running through the airport. I'm coming. Like, we've seen this a billion times. We know,
So heartwarming.
No.
Please.
It was in the early 2000s, mid-1990s. If you show me that in a modern-day rom-com, say anyone but you, I'm pissed.
Well, I mean, and you say anyone but you, that still kind of follows that type of way too, but it was done effectively.
I said it. It has some cliches in it, but it's done effectively. Anyways, I really could go on a tangent, and I kind of did, and I definitely did on the ride home from the movie. So I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to take up you guys' time. However, that's really the only thing I see as a big negative in this film, which now I guess is more of a medium-sized negative, I guess. And then but other than that, it truly is thought-provoking, well-made, good performances, and definitely deserves a watch for sure, either in the theater or... Oh, well, actually, yes. Go out to the theater.
Definitely
go watch
theaters.
Definitely go watch the theaters. I don't know why. I felt like because I've been out of the game because I was sick and we haven't brought you guys content. I thought this was one of the movies that had been out for a minute, but this did just come out. It's in theaters right now. Definitely go watch it. We definitely recommend. It's definitely 2 thumbs up from us. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else on Heretic?
That's it.
Yeah, Heretic. Definitely go watch it and then come back and let us know what you think, or if you've already seen it, let us know what you think. We'd love to talk anything and everything Heretic related with you guys down in the comment section. But also, if you like this video, the best way to let us know that you like it is by hitting that thumbs up button down there. And if you like videos like this, we try to bring you guys videos like this at least once a week, sometimes more. So please make sure to join us on this journey for more content by hitting that subscribe button. But we are the Big Screen Show. We'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.